Hey gang, I'm Luke, and well, it's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, it's been about 4 months since the last review, and I just want to say sorry to start off with. Yeah, sometimes real life gets in the way and my personal life became a bit hectic and crazy. That's not to say I haven't been writing reviews, filming and editing reviews in that time. I have, and I've got a glut of reviews to show you guys, and I can't wait to show you some of the new games that I've picked up. But yeah, welcome to Down from the Attic. And before I get started with this review, I want to do a bit of house cleaning if that's okay. First off, the channel passed its 5-year anniversary last week. 5 years I've been doing this. And I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's watched the videos, commented, subscribed and supported the channel along the way. It really does mean a lot. The other one I want to address as well is back in January, Down from the Attic passed 2,000 subscribers, and it might not sound like an awful lot to other people and in comparison to other channels, but to me that's staggering. That's 2,000 of you watching who think, yeah, this is worth following. You're crazy, you're absolutely mental, but thank you all the same. It means an awful lot. Well, I best get started with a review, and I've got a good one for you today. Way back 5 years ago, the second review that I ever did was Crossbows and Catapults, and a true classic of tabletop warfare. But it's not the only game where you're firing projectiles across a table and blowing up pieces of your enemy's battlements. Oh no. And I've got a really good one to show you today. This is Siege. Let's get this thing down and have a look at it.
First off, box art, and if this looks familiar, that's because this art has been bounded around for a number of games using the exact same components. Weapons and Warriors, Castle Storm, Battle Knights, they are all essentially exactly the same game and use the same components. So, pro tip, if you need parts for one, look around for copies of the other. Aside from a few minor differences such as Battle Knights using a board, they're all the same game. And speaking of contents, with over 100 components, there's a lot to this game. Castle pieces, trees, tents, defense shields, catapults, a crossbow, a cannon, knights on horseback, archers, soldiers, cardboard bases and tracks. Seriously, what kid seeing this wouldn't want this back in the 90s? Setup, and gotta admit, this is a lengthy process. There's a lot of elastic bands needed for this game, but unlike crossbows and catapults, these are used for explosive elements and to the scenery. The actual weapons are spring powered and don't require bands, which is a relief. Assembling the castle is a lengthy process, with you slotting the components into the cardboard base and then building the traps and walls in a very exacting manner. Similarly, the Forest Warriors encampment is all slotted to their base, the traps set, and the men put into their positions. When assembled, whoa, this is one impressive looking game. I mean, just look at it. And the thing you'll immediately notice, this game is one of two very different sides. You have the forestmen with their woodland defences, tents and archers, and the castle with its towers, drawbridge and knights. And each side gets different weapons. The castle gets a catapult and the crossbow. The forestmen, they get a catapult and a cannon.
Starting the game is as simple as this.
How this is done is by rolling 2 dice to determine how many shots you get.
The cannon and the crossbow are seriously powerful, like verging on BB gun powerful, and I wouldn't be surprised if someone got hurt with this game. I mean, getting a ball bearing in the eye or a chipped tooth, the potential for injury is always there with this, and it's not surprising that games like this are no longer manufactured. So therefore, it goes without saying, when your opponent's taking their shot, get out of the way.
However, let's not dwell on that, let's get to the carnage. Each side has different targets to aim for, different traps for their pellets to activate. For the castle player, they'll be aiming to wipe out the archers and their cannon, hit the defense shield's cannon square on to send the soldier there blasting into oblivion. The main barrier has 3 different areas you'll need to hit. The rock on the right, the dirt in the middle, and the toughest, the shield above the barrier to activate the spring there. It's a tough shot to hit. There are other soldiers that are much more open and easier to pick off with a careful shot. The forestmen, they will have a much tougher time of things, and similarly, careful aim is key. The knights are a large target out in the open to catapult out of existence, and the men outside the castle are open and exposed to fire. But the real difficulty is the men inside the castle. The 2 towers either side, you'll need to smash the window out, which unlatches the floor and sends a soldier falling to their demise. The main tower hitting that window will cause it to explode spectacularly. The small door here will cause the wall to explode and jettison the soldier above down with the rubble. The real difficulty with attacking the castle, though, is taking out the general in the back. It requires 3 insanely difficult shots. First, hit the shield above the gate to lower the drawbridge. Next, a smack on the portcullis will shoot it up. And the final shot, through the gate, through the tower doors, and smack into the general. This is not easy to do, but it has its benefits. Taking out the general means that you only roll with 1 dice, and this massively reduces your shots and your offensive. With the forestmen generally being more exposed, it can feel a bit unbalanced in that regard. However, the forestmen have the cannon, the most accurate weapon in the game, so it does kind of balance it out in that regard, but it definitely is more weighted to the person playing the castle. Die rolls can also be exchanged for movement, and you can choose to move your men and your weapons closer to your enemy. Your weapons can be placed as far forward as your leading soldier. You can use the forest in the middle of the battlefield to try and shield your warriors, but this is a risk. Yes, you're moving your weapons closer and making shots easier for yourself, but they're much closer to your enemy too, and much easier targets. It's a calculated risk. Will it pay off or won't it? That all depends on your aim. The forest and the track can also be positioned to however you like. You can have a straight track with the forest dead centre, which kind of protects both generals from direct shots. Or you can have the path snake and weave, with the forest to one side. I kind of like that it's down to personal preference. Shot by shot, the warriors from both sides will be picked off until one side is defeated. Kill all your opponent's men and you win.
So, final thoughts on Siege, or Weapons and Warriors, or Castle Storm, or Battle Knights, or whatever the hell you want to call it? More or less positive. The game will always play the same, unlike crossbows and catapults where you can build your battlements however you want, position your men how you want, and move your weapons around how you want. This game has one layout, really it only has the one layout, and it will more or less always play out the exact same way.
However, this is one action-packed game. The spring-loaded elements look spectacular when you set them off, and honestly, it's really rewarding when you do set one of these things off. Playing either side of the game has its advantages and disadvantages. Playing the castle, your men are more protected behind the battlements, but there's more of them outside than what they are inside. The forestmen are far more exposed, but have the most accurate weapon and most powerful weapon. My personal preference between the two? I prefer playing as a forestman. It's much more of a challenge, especially getting that general all the way back in the castle, but I personally find it more satisfying slowly ripping that castle to pieces.
So yeah, Siege, or Weapons and Warriors, or Castle Storm, or Battle Knights, or whatever the hell you want to call it, this is really fun, but just be really careful of those pellets. I'm not messing around, those things are dangerous, but yeah, Siege, definitely worth a shot. Well, as always, I'm Luke, thanks again for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.
If you like what I'm doing here on Down from the Attic, please consider liking the video. Subscribe to be notified of new videos when I post them, and comments are always welcome.